So today, of course, we're going to talk about Paper X versus Fnatic on Bind, because guess what happened? We got the Yoru again. The Yoru came out in big fashion, but we're actually going to start with around, most of this video will be focused around Yoru, but we also have some Jing moments to talk about as well on the Raze, and round number 5 was one of them. So let's dive into this. Fnatic are on the attack, and Paper X are on the defensive side. So let's take a look, and it starts actually with an eco here for Paper X in this round, and so they don't have great guns, as you can see, and they have a Stinger and 4 Sheriffs. So let's take a look at what happens, and it starts here with Boaster in this scenario, and I do think that Boaster made a couple mistakes, I would say. He got unfortunate sometimes as well, like he died randomly behind this box once, but doing this, right, he's all on his own. Right, and when you're playing against Paper X, even on the attack side, and you're all alone, you have to be very, very careful, right? Because they obviously will get aggressive quite often, right? They'll push a random part of the map quite often, and so you have to be wondering, you know, is it me who's about to get pushed? And so Boaster, I think, just stayed and fought a bit too much in these scenarios, and even though he's against a save here, you know, this is dangerous, right? He's running into 2 people here. He could very easily just die and potentially give them a gun. You know, he's not near anyone. It's quite risky. He's an Astra, so he doesn't have much utility to help him out in this scenario that he can quickly, you know, just use, for instance. So it's not going to be easy. You can see he actually does have a star here for the teleport as well, but this is a distinct possibility where, you know, if this happened, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And in one round, he dealt with it very well, where he was kind of like here, and he just ran all the way back, and they beat the aggression coming from here, because Alfia, I think it was able to help him out by coming this way, and he found 2 free kills because, you know, they just pinched them out. And that's what you have to kind of do. And I think that this is where Paper X catch a lot of NA and EMEA teams off, is that, you know, they aren't used to this really, really aggressive style consistently throughout, and so they don't always have like the discipline to know that they should always be retreating, right? If you watch a DRX versus Paper X game, you know, DRX will always recoil into like a shell and just, you know, and just fight together coming from all sides, right? Like, but a lot of the NA and EMEA teams just aren't used to it, and so they don't seem to quite be able to get that into their head that that is what they should always be doing. So it starts off with this, and you can see there is danger here, right? I mean, the stun comes out as well, and eventually, you know, they all live, which is not bad, because actually now he has the information. It's not too bad for them, and they start to, you know, use the space that they have garnered there. They come down short. As you can see, they have Durka here with a judge in there, and what we're going to get is Forsaken. Here's the first Yoru TP coming in, which is this one here. He's going to send out a flash, and then he's going to try and peek off it just there. The thing is, obviously now they don't have any showers control, which is, you know, a bit risky. You know, getting the spike down was always going to be difficult when they, you know, they've kind of given up this shower control here. So you'll see there goes the TP. The flash does work. He just doesn't quite manage to hit the shot, and actually Alpha does manage to clear out Benkai there. Mystic, as I said though, because, you know, they don't have that showers control, he's still wondering, you know, how many people actually are here, right? How many people are still towards shower? So he tries to go, you know, pushing deeper onto site, as you see. Does manage to get Forsaken, but Jing kills him with the Stinger. Then we're just going to see some Stinger madness, right? And Jing's just unrelenting, just, I mean, he suits this gun very well, because he just doesn't stop going. And obviously Durka only had a judge there, gets pushed off with the boombot, and so Jing is able to get a kill there. He then, you know, they then send in the Fatal, as you can see. It catches both Boaster and Alpha, who take the TP, just misses them, but they hear that only 2 players TP and not the full 3, and this is something that Fnatic were regularly doing, is anytime they took the TP, they try and leave Enzo here, you know, to try and catch anyone out who might try and follow them. In this instance, though, Jing somehow again gets a 3rd kill with the Stinger. Don't know what's going on. They pick up that weapon and they start to come behind. Now, in this situation, Alpha now has his ult after planting, so he is going to pop that ult, but we have this Fade Haunt here that is going to reveal him. Jing sees that as just a pure opportunity, so he goes blast backing in, but Boaster kills him. But obviously they have a pretty good idea of where that's going to come from, so they trade out Boaster, Mindfreak here, who in the clutch, Mindfreak, I mean, on Ascent, he pretty much won them the game single-handedly, and here on Bind, he makes another really good play where he was just in the zone on this day, and he manages to get that kill, and they win the save round, a crucial round really for Paper X. And now let's come to round number 9, where we're going to get some Yoru magic. Actually starts with some pressure towards Forsaken here. As you see, the Sky Flash comes in towards Shower, and he starts to feel the pressure. And then we're going to get the dog coming in as well that he shoots, and then Durka pops his ult. Now, we do get a good breach stun here from Benkai, as you can see. That's going to slow them down, but Forsaken, knowing that this is a raise ult, obviously starts to feel the pressure. He starts to leave. The Seize comes in here. Nice little Seize line up from Enzo, but actually misses. This is one that Paper Rex actually commonly do. But it doesn't quite hit. And Durka there, very, very close to killing Forsaken, but not quite. I like how he sent out the little fake Yoru as well, as if he was going to just run away like that. But then he ults, right? And this is where the magic starts to come in. So he starts to ult. He obviously sees that the Raze is here. They knew that already. And he starts to see these people. Well, he doesn't actually. Somehow he manages to avoid everyone, it seems. But eventually he turns around. He sees that Enzo is right there. We actually get the pop of the Sky ult from Fnatic as well. So they are starting to, really put some pressure on towards site. And it looks like everything's going to be okay. The problem is, though, that Enzo is the one with the spike. And he's the one that's furthest back. And, well, the Brim ult from Paper Rex is about to come in just there and cause some problems, as you will see for them. So the flash comes out from Forsaken. You see the Brim ult comes out. Enzo has to retreat, and he retreats right into Forsaken, who then just sprays Boaster as well, feeling that, obviously that this is where they would be, right? They'd run away from the Brim ult going that way if they were on that side of it. So he manages to get another kill from that. Whilst that's going on now, we're going to get Althea popping his ult, and he's going to blast back up here, and they're actually going to trade each other out here, Alpha and Jing. You'll see it in the kill feed. You can see him maybe just there, his little silhouette, going for the Razel, and they trade each other out, and we end up in this 4v2. Benkai is then going to manage to win this fight again. Oh, sorry, Mindfreak's going to managed to win the fight against Durka, and then we end up in a 4v1, and eventually Mystic will fall. Really, really nice from Paper X. I mean, anytime they pull out the Yoru ult and combine it with some of their other ults, it's extremely impressive. They obviously see Mystic here, and they eventually are just spamming him down, and they get the kill. Nice from Paper X. And now let's come to round number 10, and what we're going to see in this round is some early aggression with Shock from Paper X, where they're going to send a Fade Horn up here. They're going to smoke this off. They're going to send both the Yoru and the Brim down here. They're going to flash through, and they're going to get aggressive towards this area. And let's take a look at how it goes. So there's the Fade Horn. You get the flash here. You get the Brim smoke there. But crucially as well, one thing that we need to point out is that Forsaken also sent his Gate Crash through the TP here just to land just on the corner of it, so that he can go into this TP without Fnatic really knowing that anyone has taken the TP, right? So they continue to get aggressive. Boaster does, again, the right thing here and just running away. But they are a bit segmented here, but Mystic's going to try and take this fight. He just misses the few shots, and Mindfreak's able to get that kill, but they do manage to trade it back out for Durka. So we end up in a 4v4. Fnatic dealt with the aggression there pretty well, I think. Again, that retreating and then playing as a team, is kind of a way to deal with it, and so they do. But you see that Forsaken has taken the TP, or his TP, I should say, and is on the other side of the map. And so he obviously can't hear anything here, right? He's cleared out this kind of area, and we actually get this big kill from Benkai on Durka, just trying to take this fight. Yeah, they just managed to win that fight, which is a big one to win, which puts them into a 4v3. We're then going to get this Fade Horn from Divide that just tells them that, yep, they are still here. That tells Forsaken that, he's on in the right tracks. But he's now just going to stay here for a bit, right? I mean, they're still on a 3v3 here, so it still should be, fairly difficult for Fnatic to come through. And so he's just going to wait to see, will they actually rotate across, because then he can just get free kills, right? So he's just going to stay there for a bit, basically until Divide actually dies here as he peeks out. Really nice snake bite. And they manage to get the kill. So now he starts to make his move, right? Because now, after getting that first kill, yeah, they're probably going to come in onto the site. Jing actually gets caught just on the edge of the seas there. Obviously not great for him. They actually fade ult in as well. So obviously they're under a lot of pressure. Benkai gets killed by Enzo, and actually Jing, after getting one, gets traded as well. The problem is, though, they have no idea where Forsaken is, and how could you ever expect that he would be here? This is like literally the last place I think you would expect him to be in at this moment in time, and so he gets a free kill. He finds the perfect timing to just come behind Enzo and Althea there, and gets the kill, and then obviously we'll get the defuse. So now let's come to round number 12, and what we've got here, as you can see, we've already got this gate crash that's, come across the whole side of the map, because actually Forsaken is on this B site, and they're going to get aggressive here again towards this side of the map. We actually have the Divide with an op here on the Fade, which Boaster is going to run into again. Let's just take a look at what happens. So as I said, they're going to get aggressive down here again with the ult. They actually send out the stim beacon as well. They do actually get flashed by the sky, but they managed to get out. There's Devi's kind of free kill. Fnatic obviously kind of, hearing this aggression, this smoke, they flashed, they heard that they were there. Maybe they even, caught a glimpse of the Yoru ult. They decide to, go quickly towards A. The thing is, though, what's going to happen is Forsaken, after kind of clearing out this whole area, he's then going to, manage to TP across to this A site where he expects the hit is going to come in. We sent a Prowler out towards Shower, did Devi, didn't see much, and so in comes the dog. Obviously, Viper Wall is up, they start to come in, but Forsaken, at this point, he was kind of feeling it. Had a bit of a slower start to the game, but at this point, is when the Yoru started popping off. He sends out that gate crash just here, and he does the classic Yoru play. Gate crash here, send a flash in, and then TP in behind it, and it ended up with this, where Enzo, you can see, and I think that this is one of the points as well, is that on a map like Bind, you don't actually see Yoru too often. When we've seen Yoru played, we have seen him played on a couple different maps now, but really, Paper X are the Bind Yoru team. And so you see that Enzo, he hears the Yoru TP obviously, but he thinks it's further back, right? He doesn't realize it's in this corner. And again, I think that just like not being familiar with the Yoru, right? And just like where exactly the TP is going to come in is just such a big part of it. And so you see he turns to the wrong place. Forsaken gets an absolutely free one, but then the information, doesn't even fully come in that, yeah, there is someone behind them. Obviously a lot's going on. Alpha, for instance, is, being hit by this aftershock that he's having to deal with. Forsaken gets another free one there. Benkai manages to find Mystic, and then Durka, whilst he is able to get Jing going up into the air, eventually, obviously, they swarm and kill him as well. And we end up at 7-5 at the half. And now we just have to show round 14 because we just have to show it. Because Paper X, I feel like, do have a big advantage, particularly early on in halves, is in that, teams just don't know what to do against this. They've never played against anything like this. And this is against, they won the pistol, so this is against the save. But I just want, I'm not even going to say much, to be honest. I just want you to watch Jing and just how crazy this is and how fun it is. Because he's just going to completely catch them off guard, as you see there. Because he literally never stopped, right? And he still doesn't stop. He still just keeps going. And again, I know this is against pistols, so yeah. They should win this round, and it should be pretty convincing. But still, just to go at that pace, still, I mean, obviously the hashtag now is W Gaming, but I mean, this literally is just non-stop, right? He just completely didn't stop. And Bosta denies him the ace, unfortunately, but obviously knowing where he is now, they are obviously just going to kill him there. But early on, both the pistol and that second round there, Fnatic were just completely caught off guard, right? And that's the thing. You can, mentally prepare and be like, oh, they're going to be really aggressive. They're going to keep pressing W. But until you actually play against it, it doesn't help because no one else plays like that. So it doesn't make any difference because you're just so used to playing the game normally that you can't even envisage what that actually is like when someone legitimately does not stop pressing W. But Fnatic weren't just going to be a pushover in this game either, and you could tell that they did their prep work as you might expect. And Boaster, I think, actually won them a couple rounds by managing to kill the Yoru first off and save his teammates from bad situations because of the prep work that they put in. And this is one of the rounds that they ran against Team Secret. It's a really cool idea by Paper X, as you will see, but Fnatic deal with it very well, as you will also see. So it actually starts off with a gate crash here. This is the fake Yoru, and Forsaken is going to get in this corner and get a line up here to send his second gate crash, deep towards A here, as you can see. He actually sends the fake Yoru through the teleporter, and now the rest of the team is going to start to come towards B. Then he pops his ult, okay? He pops his ult, and he takes this gate crash, right? So he comes across here, and then he's going to run all the way down here whilst this team come in from B so they can, basically do a pinch on whoever's on the site, and they're just absolutely screwed. The thing is, though, what you've got here is the Viper's Pit on Garden and this kind of long area here. This is becoming more popular, I think, because it's just so hot. Like, you can't really run through it. It's suicidal to do so. So we're seeing more and more teams do this. But you're going to see that Boaster knows how to deal with this, right? Because he's just going to follow him. He just runs with him. Basically, he knows the play that's coming in. He actually gives the information to Enzo as well, who's going to turn around after he gets flashed. The Paper X team start to come in, but you see that Enzo is just turned. He knows that Forsaken is here. The information comes along back to him. We are going to see, the stun start to come in, and Enzo is in obviously quite a bit of trouble. The thing is, though, that Boaster has now, followed all the way behind, and he's going to get a free kill on Forsaken because the timing is just a bit too slow to where Boaster is able to get that free kill. And that obviously causes a massive problem because now this big pinch that they were going to do essentially means, well, they don't have any control of this because of the Viper's Pit, and so they wanted to do this, but now obviously that isn't nearly as possible because you obviously Forsaken died, and so now all of you trying to just execute out of hookah isn't going to go too well. And that is actually what they try to do eventually. Is if we just run this forward a bit quicker here, you'll see eventually Paper Rex, they're kind of a bit unsure of what to do. They do just decide to try and force it through hookah, but you're going to see that that is not an easy thing to do, particularly when you have literally no way of getting through here. So they try and send the stun in. Jing tries to go in, but they're going through the Viper's Pit. We get a really nice Astra Suck. We get a nice Fade Haunt coming out from Enzo as well that reveals Jing. And so he dies there. The rest get stuck behind the Astra Suck. And they, eventually just with 20 seconds left, they do manage to kill Enzo. But now they just have to drop down, in a pretty precarious spot here, and eventually Alpha will take care of them, and Fnatic win the round. And so you can see that there was, some good prep work in there from Fnatic, and they knew how to counter some of the things that Forsaken was doing on the Yoru. But now let's come to round number 22 to finish it, and I think that this is one of the things that whilst Fnatic did have some good preparation for the Yoru, and I think that mostly they dealt with it fairly well. The thing is, you spend so much time prepping for one thing that you kind of forget about some of the other things. And I watch quite a bit of Paper Rex, and so I am familiar with some of the things that they like to do. And this one felt like they just kind of forgot about this, because I've seen Paper Rex do this a lot. Actually, on my co-stream, I called out that as soon as they they try and go for some showers control here to get the ult orb so that Benkai can get the breach ult, I called out exactly where they were going to do this breach ult because I've seen them do it multiple times, right? So they push Durka off that angle and they get the ult orb for Benkai to get his ult here. And as I said, I've seen them do this multiple times, but as I said, you kind of expect, you spend so much time prepping for Yoru, you forget about all the other agents. We send the Skydog down here. Actually doesn't see Mind Freak, I don't think, and they get hooker control with the Raise and the Fade. And that is exactly what they want. Right, because they start to come back. Actually, we send out a gate crash here from Forsaken. I did like this. Fnatic weren't too spooked by it because actually he is going to fake this gate crash. And Durka, to be fair, I'm not sure can know whether it is real or not. There goes the fake, you see, and I guess he has just no real option of knowing whether it's real or not. But they're gonna do this ult, okay? This ult into Garden. As I said, this is one that I've seen them do multiple times, where we'll have the Yoru TP here, we'll get the Raise Satchel, and we're actually going to get the Raise ult coming off it as well. They don't always have it with a Raise ult, but this is something very common for them to do, where Forsaken will TP in just here, and you see that Mystic is just in a ton of trouble. And if there's multiple people there, they're all screwed, essentially. Fnatic, I think, did overall pretty well, particularly with these reactive Fade Haunts. I think were pretty good, right? Just like throwing them on site when the actual hit came in. I think that was a pretty good adjustment by them, but ultimately it didn't help save Mystic in that instance because Jing managed to get the kill, but Boaster does trade it out, and so that's a good start for them. The problem is they know where Boaster is, and he's kind of isolated alone here, and so Benkai is able to kill him. Alpha is going to get one, but gets quickly traded out by Divide there as well, so we end up in a 3v2 here. Forsaken does get caught by the Seas, but they start to get the spike down, and we end up in a 3v2 post plant. Now, Devi here is going to pick like the worst timing. He initially starts in this corner, but he's going to pick like the worst timing ever to try and get back across to his teammates. Perhaps, thinking that he's a bit low and that Durka maybe might have a nade, and, that information, because Durka threw that nade a long time ago whilst they were getting the ult orb on breach, so he might think, oh, it's a Raise, right? He has a nade, so I can't stay in this corner because I'll just die because I'm on low HP. So he tries to get across, but he picks, as I say, the worst time to do so, and Durka actually manages to get him there. And now Durka has his ult. The thing is, Forsaken's about to hit one of the most crazy shots. I think he's just there, right? So he's just there. Durka's just popped the ult, and he takes his head off straight away. And it's an insane shot by Forsaken, and it really wins them the round, to be honest, obviously. And Enzo does manage to get it to half, and now he knows where both is, but this is such a difficult position to be in, right? and he tries to isolate one fight and, you know, see if he can get Forsaken baited out by the Fade Hunt there, but ultimately Forsaken swings at the right time, and Paper Rex would go on to win this game, and they move on to the upper final. And I mean, playing Yoru on Bind, it's such a risk, right? Because I mean, Fnatic did pretty well, I think, in terms of preparing for it, but it's so difficult to prepare for that, whilst also having to prepare for just Paper Rex in general, and how they play is so different to, you know, almost everyone that Fnatic would have ever played. So, you know, it just caused them a lot of problems, and they ended up losing their first series with this roster that they currently have. But Paper Rex, I mean, I honestly just hope that they win the whole thing, because I think it would be a bit of a shock to everyone to see that, like, yeah, you can just play in this style and actually, you know, win a tournament. I think that would, you know, surprise a lot of people and maybe change almost what Valorant and the way competitive Valorant might go.